In the very first quarter of 2024, 185 HDB flats were sold for at least $1 million. So in this video, we're gonna dissect what are the reasons causing the increase in number of $1 million flats. If you actually take a look at the HDB resale price index from third quarter of 2020 to the first quarter of 2024, you will see that HDB resale prices have actually increased by more than 30%. There are few factors that has been contributing to the increase in the prices of HDB flats. Okay, let's start first with population. If you take a look at Singapore's population size in 2019 before the pandemic, it was at 5.7 million. Because of foreigners leaving the country due to tight border controls and a contracting job market, it fell to 5.4 million in 2021. That is almost 300,000. This decline in population size actually impacted housing demand. That's why you saw that in late 2020 and early 2021, you a fall in rental prices and lower property prices. But by the year 2023, our population rebounded to 5.91 million. Bear in mind that a large percentage of this increase in population size will be attributed to foreign workers who do not generally compete in the main housing market. But nevertheless, there will be a sizable increase in demand for housing. Second, at the start of the pandemic, there was historically low interest rates. This is due to Federal Reserve action to keep interest rates close to zero. And other central banks around the world also kept interest rates low because of the pandemic to carry out what we call monetary stimulus. Singapore is actually an interest rate taker. Interest rate in Singapore actually move in tandem with interest rates of major global economies. Our interest rates actually dipped as low as 1%. 2020 and 2021. Hey, interest rates being as low as 1% actually made housing loans more affordable, and that also partially fueled a rise in housing demand. And increase in income levels, increase in wealth as a result of the stock market doing well, also enhance buying power and enable individuals to afford pricier homes. And one last factor that I'll attribute to be a key demand factor as well would be the pandemic causing people to change their lifestyles. There is an increased demand for more private living spaces. So there will be individuals moving out from their parent homes. There will be families looking for bigger homes. All this will have resulted in an increase in demand for housing. And the supply has actually not kept with the surging demand. This was especially the case during the early part of the pandemic, where there were construction delays, there were an insufficient number of foreign workers to work. Today, we are also wanting to talk about specifically why are we seeing more $1 million flats? Okay, if you actually examine most of these $1 million flats, you will see some common traits, right? One, they are located in mostly mature estates. Two, their sizes are larger, so they have a larger per square feet size. Usually it's 1,000 square feet and above. And in most cases, you're seeing 1,200 square feet, 1,300 square feet. Three, they have longer remaining leases. So all of these traits enhance their desirability and market value. If you look at all these flats that you are seeing $1 million transactions, they mostly possess some of these key characteristics, these very desirable common traits. Okay, now why should we be concerned about this continued rise in housing prices? If housing prices keep going up, they can put home ownership out of reach for young couples, adding to the financial burdens of starting families. Higher prices of larger homes might dissuade people from starting families or increasing their sizes of the family. There will be increased sense of disillusionment in the public, right? If you have constant headlines about $1 million HDBs, it perpetuates a sense of inaccessibility, even though your BTO flats actually remain relatively affordable and your resale flats haven't universally reached these astronomical levels. This constant reading of these news may actually exaggerate the situation, worsening our perception that actually housing has become a lot more expensive. But it's not just that. It's also about the continuous exposure to this kind of news, right? It can inflate sellers' expectations, right? It lead to sellers expecting that, I can hold out for higher prices. If there are so many $1 million HDB flats out there, so surely the housing market is doing well. I can hold out for higher prices, pushing the entire market towards these elevated prices. What can we do? I think what we need to do is to have a thorough examination of the current housing demand. If there is a significant demand for larger flats in mature estates, HDB should consider increasing the supply of such residences. If the concerns are about the potential windfall effect from these developments, then maybe they can consider the following strategies. Number one, you could actually cater dedicated housing for larger families, right? Now, I know that there is this category of flats that are called 3-gen flats. But the 3-gen flats, currently the structure is to accommodate 3 generations. But what's the issue with accommodating 3 generations? These arrangements often, if you think about the whole concept of 3 generation, right? It can be just actually 5 people, 1 child, 2 parents, and then 2 grandparents. Then five people then will form 3 generation already. What? So if that's the case, then why not be a bit more objective? Expand the eligibility of such flat to better serve families with more children. So for example, as long as you have a family size of 6 and above, maybe you can be eligible to apply for these 3-gen flats. I think there is also a case to be made, right, to introduce a variety of desired flat types that cater to different preferences and needs. That means bringing back Jumbo HDB flats. If you notice, a lot of these flats, $1 million flats, what are they? They're executive flats. They're Jumbo HDB flats. These are units that HDB don't actually build anymore. They were like designed in the 1990s. Prices tend to skyrocket when the supply is scarce, but demand is, right? If that is the case, then supply more of these units, then it will bring down the prices over time.